Hey Genderqueer gang, Bobby Joe here, and our topics this week are how do/did you get your family and or friends to understand and maybe even accept how you identify? How do/did you get your family and or friends to use your preferred name and or pronouns? Very similar questions. I really like these questions, but they're very similar, so I'm just going to answer both. I guess in the same way. So I'm going to start with family. This can be hard. Not around my family too much, so it isn't as big of a deal for me as to whether or not they accept my identity or understand it. I mean, it'd be nice. It would really be nice. It would make things a lot easier. But the fact is that my gender isn't a daily part of their life. It's not something they're having to deal with all the time. It's not something that's in their face all the time. So it only really comes up when I talk about it or if a topic of it comes up, which is not very often. So it's hard to get them to understand it if they're not having to be faced with it all the time, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, I live really far from my family. There's reasons for that. But, like, I guess I'm saying, like, yeah, it sucks that my family doesn't really understand, and yeah, it sucks that they don't really accept it. I don't know if either of those things are ever going to happen, but I don't have to deal with it very often, so it kind of makes it a little bit better. Not to say that doesn't weigh on my mind. Like, something that I have quite a bit of stress about and quite a bit of anxiety about, and like, I wish all the time that it would be easier, as I think a lot of us do, but sometimes it's nice that, like, I can just, like, not deal with it. And that's an okay thing, to just not deal with it. Although it is gonna be intense because I just went on a higher dose of tea, so that means that, like, more changes are gonna be more obvious. I mean, my voice is getting deeper, so I don't even know if my dad knows I'm on testosterone yet. I don't care, except for the fact that, like, changes are gonna be obvious. So I don't know. How did, like, I don't know if someone who is, like, super set in binary genders and is, like, really into religion, which is, I'm describing my parents for you, as I think you guys have gathered from previous videos. I don't know if people like that can ever really understand or accept a genderqueer identity, or even just a, straight up transsexual identity. I don't know if that's something that they will ever understand, and that's fine. Like, my way of dealing with it is me surrounding myself with lots of friends that are really great and positive in that sense. Also, just, like, searching for family members who do accept it. Like, I have a cousin who's really great. I have her mother, my aunt is really great, and then one of my uncles is really awesome about it. And so that's really nice. Like, when I told my uncle, he's like, okay, what do you want me to call you now? Because I can't call you niece or nephew. I thought of nephew, which I fucking love. It's awesome. Yeah, like, that's really rad that I have some family members like that. So if there's a possibility to search out for that, then do it. If not, friends are great, Then by saying this, I'm not saying to just, like, give up on your parents or give up on the family members who aren't understanding. Because, there is something to be said for family. Like, my parents have supported me through a lot of things, like getting through university. Yeah, like, they've been great financial supports, and they do have lots of things that they do give me advice on. So I'm not into, like, severing ties with my family. It's just, like, you have to accept that sometimes you're going to have really great conversations, and that seems like it's going to get a lot better, but then, like, the next conversation is completely ignored, or something else really shitty is said, or, you know, like, it's a lot of step forwards and then step backs. Yeah. Another thing, too, I think is important to do is to stress happiness. Like, the fact of, like, finding your gender identity is making you quite a bit happier. If it is, I don't want you to lie about that. Like, yes, knowing my gender makes me much happier, and being on testosterone has made me much happier. But at the same time, I still have days where it really sucks to be genderqueer, you know? And it's hard, and you wish that it, like, things could just be different. And not different, like, how do I say this without sounding horrible? Like, you know, you get thoughts in your head of, like, oh, I wish, you know, I could have just been, you know, had my gender match up with my sex. That would have been a lot easier. But then at the same time, I don't wish that, because then I wouldn't be me, and I love who I am, and I love having a really complicated gender, but it's frustrating, and so then at times I don't really love it. So ultimately, I love it more, but I don't know where I was going with that. Oh, I'm just rambling now. Anyways, that's what I was trying to say about that, I guess. I don't know. I lost my point. Yeah, talking with family is hard. Getting them to use your names and your preferred pronouns, again, like, if you're not interacting with them all the time, which is all that I know, so I don't really know how to give advice on anything else. Like, me and my parents, like, talk on the phone maybe 2 times a month, sometimes less, sometimes more. And talking on the phone isn't the same as being immersed in, like, having them around my friends who use gender neutral pronouns for me. And, you know, like, they're not faced with my gender all the time. So it's hard to get them to understand it. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what else to say about that. I mean, sometimes they do really good. Like, for my grandfather's funeral, my dad told the rabbi to say my name. At first, he said to say my birth name, but then quickly I heard him correct himself and be like, oh, wait, no, just use Joe, which isn't obviously my full preferred name, but it's like the shortened version of my birth name that I've used for a long time, and I've never really gone by my birth name except for by family members. So it wouldn't even be out of place for that. So I really appreciated that he did that. Let's talk about friends, I guess. I think that, like, I only really surround myself with friends who understand gender. So, that's never really something I have to deal with. Unless it's, like, a friend that I only see every once in a while. Most of the friends who would have referred to me by female pronouns or anything like that are people who lived in Vancouver, or, like, previous cities that I've lived in, and only saw me every once in a while. We're, like, friends from work or something. And a lot of those, I just don't see the point in explaining my gender, because it's more complicated than it has to be. Like, they see it on Facebook, but, like, they don't know actually how to put that into real life of using gender neutral pronouns. And, like, yeah, I guess I should be correcting them, but at the same time, like, I see them maybe a couple times a year, and it's more effort than it is. I know their heart is in the right place, but how they see me is how they see me, and it's more effort than I need. I guess I only put in the effort when I think it's actually worth it, if it's someone who I hang out with a lot. But in that sense, like, they're going to be surrounded by people. Like, they're going to hang out in situations with other friends of mine, and then those friends will be using gender neutral pronouns for me, and then it would become awkwardly obvious that they're using the wrong pronouns, like, just to themselves. And so then I feel like that corrects it in that sense, like, submerging those people into situations where you are being referred to in the way that you want to be referred. Yeah. Oh my God, my dog is snoring, and it's so cute. yeah, so I guess that's it. Have a great week. I don't know if that was helpful at all. So I will see you later. Bye.